Hello and welcome back to ESBR Boxing. Tonight, I'm delighted to be joined by Niall for another big fight breakdown. The fight we'll be breaking down is the highly anticipated rematch of Chantelle Cameron and Katie Taylor. Niall, firstly, how are we? And thank you for joining me tonight.
Yeah, I'm great. Can't complain. How are you? Hope you're well.
Yeah, like I say, all good, mate. Thank you for asking. Let's just, like we say, jump straight into it. Obviously, it's a woman's super fight, but like a lot of people were putting it was just a super fight. Let's take the women's aspect out of it. It was a good card. It was a big event. Katie Taylor was obviously stepping up in weight. Moved up to fight Chantelle Cameron. She lost on the night, and what a lot of people thought was the fair result and the correct result. Um, so yeah, taking all that into mind, Niall, is this rematch the fight you wanted to see, or would you have preferred them to fight different opponents? Is this a step too far for Katie Taylor? What are your general thoughts on the rematch?
I do think I did want to see the rematch, first of all, because I think more than anything, I think Katie Taylor deserves it. I might be a bit biased in saying that, the Irish connection, but I think after the career she's had and what she's done for the sport, I think she has a right, and she deserves the chance to right that wrong against Chantelle Cameron, And it's not like she got dominated either. It was close enough. Like it was the deserved winner, but yeah, I think I want to see it because it's such a big event for Irish sport and boxing in general. And yeah, Katie Taylor deserves it, to be honest.
Is it just on the back of your answers? Is it the fight, like the immediate fight, you thought get straight back in, or do you think it would have been better for Katie Taylor just to have a keep busy fight, an in between fight, and then go back in with Chantelle Cameron?
Uh, it might have been advised to kind of maybe have another fight before the rematch. However, Katie Taylor, I don't think she's at the stage now of her career. She's at the back end of her career now. I think it's safe to say, and she's running out of time. So I think keep busy fights aren't really in her kind of an option for her. So I think for her own career path, it was kind of better off that she get back in here straight away.
Yeah, I think, like I say, it's more than fair. I think the career she's had, the status she holds, like I say, she's more than entitled to a rematch. If she'd have got completely outclassed in every single area and every single round, then maybe not. But like you say, it wasn't a domination. I do think Chantelle Cameron won, but like you say, we'll see how Katie Taylor readapts in the rematch. In terms of rankings, obviously the fight is for undisputed status. You look at Katie Taylor's record, the fighters she's fought, the career she's had. And you look now who Chantelle Cameron's fought, and look at her record. Would you say Chantelle Cameron is pound for pound number two behind Clarissa Shields, or would you even stretch as far to say after the Taylor win she could be number one?
It's an interesting question. It is because I think at the very least she has to be number two after that win. But in terms of putting her number one, there is a kind of an argument to be made there for putting her number one. Like no discredit to anything Clarissa Shields has ever done. Undisputed in multiple weight classes, the amateur background, the talent that she has, the Savannah Marshall win. But I think it's safe to say that the Katie Taylor win on its own is a better win than anything Clarissa Shields has done. Any name on Clarissa Shields' record doesn't match the level of Katie Taylor. Like the best win for Shields is Savannah Marshall, and Savannah Marshall's very worthy win to have, but it's it's not Katie Taylor. It's just not the same. They're not on the same planet really. So in terms of resume wise, there could be an argument to say Chantelle Cameron is pound for pound number one based on just that win alone, to be honest. So yeah. And especially if she was to beat Katie Taylor again, there'd be an even stronger argument to put her number one. So she also has a good win against Jessica McCaskill,
Mhm.
who beat Cecilia Brækhus. So she has another solid win. But in terms of a singular name on the record, nobody else has a win like that in women's boxing.
No, I completely agree with you. I think everything you're saying is fair. I think if for me, I'd probably say, like you say, it's up for debate, but I do think if Chantelle Cameron wins this rematch, then for me, there's not nothing else other than Chantelle Cameron being number one. Um, to get two back-to-back victories over arguably the biggest name in women's boxing. I mean, I know if you ask that question inside America, it's going to be a different result. But if you ask outside of America, I think more people would know Katie Taylor than Clarissa Shields. I think she's got more sort of pay-per-view star power. Um, in 2024, for either fighter, it could be result dependent, but what are the biggest fights possible for both fighters in 2024? Is it a trilogy if Katie Taylor wins, or say Chantelle Cameron wins? Who would you like to see either fight next year, and sort of who would be the big opponents for them?
In terms of the trilogy, I think it's definitely a viable option, especially if it's a another close fight like it was, the first time around. I think it'd make complete sense to go again. Maybe even in England, who knows? But outside of that, there is a few options, a few interesting options. Of course, Kate Taylor, she's already beaten kind of most women out there around her weight class, and Cameron has good wins too. But I think other options, you've got the likes of Michaela Mayer, you've
Mm,
got Terry Harper, and even Cecilia Brækhus, who they've obviously recently fought to a draw, but they'd be the main three for me in terms of new fights. So you've got, as I say, Mayer, Brækhus, or Harper, but there's also still Amanda Serrano, who thinks she could still have the beating of Katie Taylor after their fight, which was amazing. I'm not normally in favor of rematches, but when they're a close fight like that and it's such an exciting fight and big occasion, I'd love to see Amanda Serrano come over to Ireland and try to get
mm.
that win back. But if it wasn't to be Serrano, said you've got multiple options out there. Michaela Mayer would be a very interesting one. Of course, there's obviously Alicia Baumgardner as well, but we don't know what the future holds for Alicia Baumgardner. That'll be if she can get her kind of house in order and get her name cleared there. That'll be an exciting fight for either Cameron or Taylor. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of options there for Kate Taylor in particular. I think if she was to win, she's only got maybe one fight left, one big fight left, one or two at a max. So I'd love to see her fight them names. But Cameron can have her pick if she was to pull off the win against Kate Taylor again.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I do like to say I like to mention Terry Harper. I know at the moment I think Terry Harper's up at super welter, so we'd obviously need Harper to come back down. But it's weights she's fought at before, so I think the money on offer, like say, if it was Katie Taylor, the money on offer, especially if you could have it in England or in Ireland again, it's money talks. It's weights Terry Harper's fought at before. She's not the biggest at the weight as it is, so I don't think that's completely out the window. Before we move on to predictions, one thing I do want to ask yourself: what adjustments do you think Katie Taylor needs to make to beat Chantelle Cameron this time round?
Yeah, it's got without getting too much into predictions, I think it's going to be very hard to make the adjustments. I think what Kate Taylor needs to do is make completely fight this on the back foot. Never engage with Chantelle Cameron at all. Pure defensive on your feet. Kind of, I don't want to say pot shotting, but don't
Mm,
get greedy with your kind of combinations. Don't fight fire with fire in the pocket and keep your back off the ropes. Where she kind of struggled a lot in the first fight. She was bullied by the size of Cameron, especially when Cameron got her to the ropes, and worked away. The size difference was totally evident there. So to put it simply, I think Kate Taylor needs to make this as boring a fight as possible. You know, Almost back to our amateur days of a kind of point scoring masterclass. And yeah, don't fight Cameron's fight, which is in close. Letting her use her physical strength, which was so evident in the first fight. So yeah, keep on the back foot, and as soon as she feels her back touching them ropes, spin off and keep going. But the big question is, does she have the legs like she used to do to kind of keep that going? Because I think take nothing away from Chantelle Cameron in the first fight, she fought an amazing fight, but I think the signs of decline were there for Kate Taylor even before that fight, a few fights before that. As much as I hate to say it, but it's understandable after a long career. But Cameron was brilliant, so credit to her in the first fight.
No, I think that's fair. Katie Taylor's been at the elite level of women's sport in multiple different sports, and she's been in like the Serrano fights and whatnot. She's been in some firefights, especially even the way the style of the Cameron fight went. So you can imagine over time, it's natural as you get older when you're in tough fights, especially the style of fighter she is. It's naturally you're going to begin to slow down. But I do agree with if she can box on the back foot, force Chantelle Cameron to come onto her and almost completely change the style of fight Cameron would want. That's her best opportunity. I'm going to have to push you, Niall, for a prediction. So, how do you think the fight's going to go in just over 2 weeks?
This is going to be real hard for us to head here. My heart says Kate Taylor has one big performance left in her, and she can do roll back the years and do what I just said, keep it on the back foot and pick Cameron off as she comes in. But I think Cameron is just too big for her, too big and too skilled. She used her size brilliantly in that fight. Strong jab, bullied her up against the ropes. She threw when Katie Taylor threw. That's what I'm saying about Taylor. Can't get greedy here, but when Katie Taylor threw one of her trademark flurries, she threw with her, so Katie Taylor could never set. So I just think Cameron's too young and too hungry, and yeah, I think another decision for Chantelle Cameron. For me, maybe a little bit wider than the first time. I'd say unanimous decision Chantelle Cameron.
Yeah, unfortunately for the viewers, I'm going to have to agree with yourself. I do like to try and hopefully have a sort of difference in opinion, but I think everything you said spot on there. I just think that the style of fighter Katie Taylor is a brilliant matchup for Chantelle Cameron. Like you say, in terms of stature and size, and I think the key point I want to take from your aspects of is when Katie Taylor went to throw the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 punches in flurries, like you say, Cameron stood there and went with her. So it's almost she couldn't implement everything she wanted to do and take control of the fight that way from Taylor's point of view. So I do have to agree. I think it'll be a unanimous decision win. I don't think it'll be ridiculously wide on the scorecards, but I think it will be a not necessarily fairly comfortable night's work. But when we look back at the end of the final round, I think we'll say, yeah, that's a fairly comfortable point score. Niall, thank you so much for joining me tonight. For anyone watching at home, let us know what you think about mine and Niall's breakdown. If you think Katie Taylor can win and how she can win, let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, check out all our other videos and any of the other big fight breakdowns we'll have coming up. And we look forward to fight night.